Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report, a very special edition because some breaking news just came out. The Browns-Raiders Saturday night game has been postponed. Due to all the Browns COVID cases, the NFL has moved the game from Saturday to Monday at 5 Eastern. That's right, it'll be kicking off from First Energy Stadium, 5 Eastern, 4 Central. Kind of a special doubleheader Monday night because the Bears and Vikings are still playing. But that's the news I think everyone has been waiting for, because it got to a point where I was still believing that Nick Mullins could have a good Sunday and find a way to eke out a win. But I wouldn't say the latest COVID news, the latest COVID cases in Cleveland, which was Jadeveon Clowney testing positive after feeling sick all week, was the tipping point. I do think at a certain level you're thinking, Myles Garrett can only do so much on his own, right? He needs a little bit of help. And so the game has been postponed. What's a little interesting, though, is that it's gone from Saturday, which is December 18th, to Monday the 21st, only 4 days before the Browns are supposed to play again on Christmas Day in Green Bay against the Packers. So beyond a short week for Cleveland, and I don't know what the NFL is going to do, I really doubt they move the Browns-Packers game. Christmas Day is very lucrative for the NFL. They made a ton of money last year with the Vikings and the Saints playing, so I really just can't wrap my head around the NFL postponing that game or flexing another game over. I think the NFL gave the Browns a little bit of some slack here by moving this game back a couple of days, but they're saying, hey, tough luck on the Week 16 matchup in Lambeau. We can only do so much. At the end of the day, we're a business, and we're going to put money ahead of what Browns fans would like to see. But make sure you are subscribed to the Cleveland Browns Report, because as you can tell, we're not in our studios. We're in my kitchen right now, but I didn't want to leave you guys shorthanded. And I wouldn't say out of the know, because it's pretty hard to miss this news right now, but to get some different perspectives on it. So make sure you are subscribed. That way, when you're looking for Browns news and rumors, we've got plenty of options for you here at the Browns Report. So hit that big red button and subscribe. I also want to pose this question to you. Do you agree with the postponement? I mean, I don't really know how you can agree, but a lot of people are down there saying, hey, tough luck. The Broncos played last year with Kendall Hinton, their wide receiver at quarterback. Now, very different circumstances too, by the way. But let me know. Type A for agree or D for disagree. This will be the pinned comment on the video. So if a YouTube ad break hits you right now, scroll on down, reply, and come back up when the ad is over. I agree with it. I think, like I said and kind of hinted at the beginning of the video, I was okay with the Nick Mullins idea. I was kind of around it of, this will be fun. He had a couple good games. Let's see if he can pull out a great Cleveland win, because it's a tough, broad shoulders, tough blue-collar city. So why not let Mullins come in and get his hands dirty and pull out a victory? But on the defensive side, it wasn't like Clowney was going to be, a huge difference maker in this game. But at the end of the day, the Browns were without over 20 players. So I'm going to read the whole list for you. I couldn't memorize it, so I'm going to kind of use a little cheating here. I'm going to read it all. Here we go. Get your pen and paper ready. Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum, Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, Jedrick Wills, Wyatt Teller, Jadeveon Clowney, Takk McKinley, Ifeadi Odenigbo, Malik McDowell, Anthony Walker, Jacob Phillips, Mack Wilson. It sounds like I'm doing a graduation right now. Tony Fields, Troy Hill, AJ Green, John Johnson, Ronnie Harrison, Grant Delpit, Jamie Gillan, JoJo Natson, Ross Travis, Nate Meadors, and Drew Forbes. So that's the latest right there on everyone that is on the list as of right now, including head coach Kevin Stefanski, the Browns running back coach, and probably someone else I forgot, because at this point, I literally felt like I was giving a graduation speech and just hope not to trip over my words, because when the list is that long, it's just tough to keep track, right? I would post the list and then I would miss someone. But the NFL, by the way, let's get back on course a little bit. They really, I don't think, had any other choice because of how long that list would be. But here's what I think is a little interesting. I think a precedent was set, by the way. I think the NFL really wanted to avoid delaying this game, because all across the country, you're seeing the NBA and the NHL deal with big COVID issues. And it's a little different for those leagues because they play 2 times a week, so they can move games around. The NFL is a completely different animal, but I don't think the NFL wanted to postpone this game until the absolute last moment, because what if a similar situation happens next week? And by the way, it's already happened this week. We've seen the Washington football team and the Seahawks and Rams game. Washington football team versus Eagles, Seahawks, Rams. Those games are getting postponed as well because those teams are quietly dealing with just as many issues as the Browns are for the COVID cases, if not more. I mean, the Rams was skyrocketing, and Washington was also without their top quarterbacks. They were on their fifth-string center. But let's talk about Cleveland here, because they were working with a skeleton crew, and that does not help with any playoff aspirations. But I do believe the Browns still have a good shot at making the playoffs. Do you think they will make the playoffs, though? Let me ask this question to you. Type Y for yes, N for no in the comments section. If you're still in on the Cleveland Browns making the 2021-2022 NFL playoffs, let me know what you're thinking down below. I'm absolutely still on it. I think the schedule, well, sure, it isn't easy, but at the end of the day, you can only, it's tough when you go down the stretch, especially this year, because I think every team is basically going into the final 2 weeks of the season, some even 3 weeks of the season, playing strictly divisional games. And there's just something about AFC North football that is, you got to grind out wins. You just don't get them handed to you. You don't get to go play the Jags or the Texans or the Lions late in the year and pick up freebies. Even if the Bengals or whatever team it is having a down year, it's still not going to be a complete handout. So you got to find ways to get some wins in this one. But speaking of the Browns-Raiders, which has been postponed like I mentioned, when it does get kicked off and when the Muni lot is full, and by the way, I thought we should have some open practices at the Muni lot. All right, a little Invincible action. Was it Vince Papale? Let's get the whole crew out there. We'll get Mark Wahlberg. We'll make a whole new movie, kind of like Draft Day, but maybe a little better for this exact reason of we need bodies out there. So who's got pads? Who can dig out their old high school football uniform and go out and suit out? I'm not. No. I'm better with a controller or behind in front of a camera, but not this kind of on the field, actually. I'd rather talk about people on the field than actually be on the field. So with the skeleton crew, though, what is the score prediction for the Browns? Let's see if they get anyone back. The big thing I think that's working for Cleveland is that the NFL is looking at loosening up some of their COVID protocols. So what that could do is that could allow a path for a handful of Browns players to get back on the field for Monday. They haven't been extremely transparent on what the loosening of the COVID protocols would look like. I haven't seen a clear black and white definition of what that would be, but I think it would look something like I think what I saw was if you're asymptomatic and after 24 hours you can come back with the team, not to wait 24 hours for 2 negative tests apart, got to be asymptomatic, and you're vaccinated. I think that was they were really going after, was they saw Baker Mayfield, a vaccinated, asymptomatic player who's playing, who's on live streaming on Twitch playing Xbox or PS4, whatever it was, and why isn't he playing, right? Those kind of questions of maybe, I wouldn't say we're going too far with this, but we need product on the field, and the NFL wants to make money, and Nick Mullins is simply not going to drive in revenue. I'm still going to watch the game. I'm sure you guys are going to still watch the game, but maybe you're less average fan and be like, nah, I got better things to do on my Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, whenever this game gets kicked off. Other things I noticed and just kind of want to touch on before we wrap up the video. Like I said, by the way, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way we're doing breaking news. We'll do it from the studio. If we can't make it in time, we'll do it from my kitchen. Everyone can see all the magnets on my fridge. If they hear my dog bark, you can comment her name, Cruz, down below, or comment your own dog's name. I think we've all experienced some dog barkings during Zoom meetings throughout the last year and a half. But I looked at the Browns roster. Do yourself a favor. Go to the Browns roster on ESPN. And just look at it, because it looks like a kids menu from Texas Roadhouse where everyone drew all over it and was playing Connect the Dots and Tic-Tac-Toe. There's red everywhere. It's one of the bad like dad jokes of what's red what's white and black but red all over a newspaper. Nope. How about the Browns roster? Because it is filled with big zeros, big O's that are red for out. Half of the starters are out for this game. Well, are at least supposed to be. Maybe they can come back and play. Like I said, the belief is the latest NFL COVID protocol changes will allow some of these players to return for Monday. It would seem a little mind-boggling to move the game to Monday and then not let some of these guys that are clearly asymptomatic or whatever the case may be not play, right? That just doesn't seem like it accomplishes a lot. The whole point of moving the game back was to get some players back. So I like to believe this will benefit the Browns greatly. I also saw a little bit of a rumor that the Raiders were not optimistic. We're not pushing for this game to get postponed, actually. They wanted to play the game. Of course, they were playing Nick Mullins, but they felt, hey, either we're playing the game or the Browns are forfeiting. Because we remember hearing over the summer, if a team has a COVID outbreak, that will result in a forfeit. Now, it was reminded that you need to, in order for that to happen, there have to be a bunch of unvaccinated players, which what I'm hearing is not the case in Cleveland. It's a lot of vaccinated players, which is really working against exactly what the NFL said would not lead to this, right? If everyone gets vaccinated, we should all be A-okay. We're not going to dive into the nitty-gritty science behind it, but at the end of the day, you have a lot of players who followed the protocols, right? Who got vaccinated and took their tests. Bunch came back positive. What do you want us to do, sort of deal? So that's the latest news. Make sure you subscribe, and if you want this game, if you're happy this game got postponed, if you agreed with it, type an A for agree. If you don't want to get postponed, maybe you're a Raiders fan. Maybe you're over here going, this was our best shot at winning because we knew we would lose. Because here's the deal with the Raiders lately. You want to know what they do down the stretch since 2019? I had someone comment this on the video I did yesterday of, well, the Raiders beat our asses last year in Cleveland when it was rainy. How is this supposed to benefit the Browns this year? I remind you why. Because that game last year was not played in the final 6 weeks of the season. Where if you kind of just loosely follow the Raiders, you would notice the Raiders are awful at the end of the season. They always crumble, fall apart. It's like a sad game of Jenga. Someone pulls the piece in week 12, week 11, and it all comes crashing down. The Raiders in the final 6 weeks of the season, since 2019, are 3-11. Just spam some laughing emojis because the Raiders are always known. You can always rely on them lately. Get off to a nice start, like 3-0 this year, and then since they're bye, they are 1-5. So the Raiders are going to Raider, the Faders are going to fall. I'm sorry, we got a great Raiders report here at Chat Sports. Mitchell Rand does a fantastic job. I don't like to pull his leg too much on it, but the Raiders simply just do not provide many wins down the stretch at the end of this season. All right, we're going to check out here some other news before we wrap up the video, but make sure you subscribe, and we will see you later here on the Cleveland Browns Report.